en toe ons daar iets ook gedoen het, dit was om 'n boek te doen, dus alles nou jy werk fantasties.
Nou, sodra jy RAM en solid state drive het,
Dan behoort als ja, nee, dit
Wat Dash is gestuur, is heeltemal van Microsoft en Azure en jy weet, dis ons
gats,
as kliënt van Microsoft. Dis nie net, ek dink dit gaan net wees van jy moet ons nou gekanselleer.
Nee, kyk, ons is wat moet die ander goed daar het ook ons nog saam.
hoekom rekord dit hierop? Hoekom hoor ek dit op YouTube? Ja. Johan, ek kyk net gou iets vir my klankie so. Sound system. Kyk gou vir my.
Ekskuus man, ons substasie het opgebraak by ons. So ons sit nog op 7 uur of so met krag. So ek het nou gesukkel en moet dit ook nog
Kyk, en dit is van die baie af. Hulle toets nog op my saam met my. Ek het net my settings afgesit. En dit vat so 'n rukkie later. Okay, Johan, sê jy gou vir ons iets?
Goeiemiddag.
Wat komt dit? Hierdie boardroom is beskikbaar.
Ek wil net noem dat die livestream is so 30, 40, 45 sekondes agter wat gebeur. So onthou net dit as jy iewers kyk of so. Sê weer?
Term van 'n latency.
Maar dit is so, dit is daar's al het ons voor die tyd gesê dit daar is 'n delay, so jy moet net dit in ag neem wanneer jy praat en so.
As ek klaar gepraat is op die einde moet ek 5 minute kans gee vir die mense wat gaan vra.
Ja, gebeur nie eens regtig so nie. Jy sal sien in die chat box. Okay, so ons is 2 minute 45 sekondes weg van live af op die Ja, nou hoor ons jou nie meer nie. So, het iemand jou kontak gemaak of iets, Johan? Voor die tyd? Nog nie?
Ja, nee, daar het nie mense my kontak gemaak op die stadium nie. Ek en Roula het 'n bietjie gesels.
Ja.
Maar geen kom ons sê 'n ander oupie of 'n agent het my gekontak het deur die stelsel op die stadium nie.
Ekskuus net gou.
Lisel, begin jy of begin 2 uur begin ek te praat?
Ek sal vir jou, kan jy my sien of jy kan my nie sien nie. Ek sal vir jou sê, okay, ons is live nou. En dan tel ons, ek sal afstel. 3, 2, 1, okay.
Gustav. Kan jy op Zoom vir mense ingelog is?
Op ons, dis net ek en jou wat op Zoom is.
Okay, maar gaan ons die podcast hulle gaan dit obviously live gaan kyk, nee.
Hulle gaan dit live kyk en hulle chat op die platform. Maar dit is net ek en jy wat op Zoom is. Net kyk, want hierdie oorfone van my het daai kan jy my hoor?
Ja.
Praat gou in die agtergrond hierso. Kan jy iemand hoor? Lawaai maak jy by my. Hoor jy hulle?
Hulle geraas.
Koek. Okay, moet dit nie doen nie. En nou,
Ja, ek hoor hulle.
en kan ek vol bly. 3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Johan van der Merwe. I'm the Managing Director of We Connect You. And yeah, I want to thank the leadership of KW for the opportunity to speak to you guys on your family reunion. I believe it's going really well. My topic for today is the key steps in building a healthy rental portfolio. So We Connect You is a specialized property management software solution company, but our original roots were in property managers ourselves. So we were managing portfolios that some of you might have been doing at the moment. And we've built solutions to solve what we believe our biggest challenges were. Now, today's objective is to really focus on the nuts and bolts, the key things you guys can take away, that can go and implement this afternoon or tomorrow in your business. So what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to confuse you guys with a bunch of intense business plan or business processes that will confuse you guys. I would like to give you guys the main points about what you guys should be thinking of. I know most of you are new to rentals, so how you should approach this whole new business of yours, and what you should put in place to ensure a successful and a healthy rental portfolio. So to achieve that, we're going to have 3 discussion points today. Number 1, the missing link in rental portfolio management. So yeah, we do see something really unique that the market for years have been neglecting, and we would like to make sure that if you guys are starting in this new business venture, that you start in the right way. Secondly, the critical success factors in building a rapidly growing rental portfolio. This is one area where I'm really excited for you guys as a brand based on your current business infrastructure, and I'll elaborate a little bit more about that. And lastly, I think a very, very important question is, how do I go ahead and actually long-term ensure that I build a healthy rental portfolio that's always compliant, always are manageable irrespective of the size, scalable, meaning with a really core lean team, I can build a big portfolio, and lastly, a profitable portfolio. I think the reason why we're all doing this. So hopefully by the end of my presentation, we would have discussed these 3 questions or discussion points in detail. You guys can walk away with some tangible advice or pointers how to build a healthy business. So in any business, if we start building a business, we start with the ultimate customer. In your case, it's an investor, a property investor, and we try to understand his needs, because ultimately your service or product, in this case a service, that you'll be delivering should satisfy your client's needs. So we have to understand our customer, and once we understand our customer, we can build or structure our service, in this case a management service, based on the client's needs. So in today's world, if one of these investors walks into your office and tell you that they've bought a property and they would like you to manage your property, what do you think are their needs? Now, unfortunately, this is not an audio kind of interactive session at this stage, but let me typically give you the answer that we get mostly from our clients or prospective clients. Well, it's obvious. They want us to find them a tenant. They would like us to collect their rent. They would like us to do some maintenance management for them, sometimes some area management, and the lease management that goes along with a rental property. Now, that might be what they say, or it might be what you offer them as a service. But let me tell you what they really want from you. As an investor, they ultimately want from you these 4 things. They would like you to give them a return on the investment they've just made, either from a cash flow or capital gains perspective, or the combination of both. Secondly, they would like you to help them reduce their risk, because as an investor, risk and return usually go hand in hand. And as an asset manager, in our view, your job is not to find a tenant. Your job ultimately is to reduce risk. Finding a good tenant might help with that, but that's not the only thing you're supposed to do. Thirdly, you should, as the expert in the area, provide guidance to your client in how to build or grow his portfolio. And lastly, and critically, you should be able to report to your client to enable him to make good investment decisions, because they are ultimately investors. Now, in today's market, I'm going to give you typically what happens in the current market. So we've got the same two investors sitting on the left. And let me, as an investor, they typically can start and say, all right, I would like to invest my, let's say 2 million rand into two different asset classes, one in a financial asset class and one in a property asset class. Let me show you what is typically the investment experience between these two asset classes. So if they walk into a financial asset manager, I don't want to mention too many names and I don't get royalties for punting a company at the moment. So let's say they walk into a company that you know very well. The first thing that's going to happen to them, they will be met by a person called an asset manager from this company. This guy's job on the first meeting is to understand the client's risk profile, understand the expected returns of their clients, and together, based on those two elements, design an investment strategy. On a quarterly basis, at least, this asset manager will report to each client, the investor, on the return on investment of that investment, as well as a market trend of where the investment is invested in. And then at least annually, there will be an annual review about the client's investment, and typically they will report back on the performance of that investment or the return on investment. If the exact same person with the exact same needs walks in or buys a property and walks into the average property manager's office and basically have the same expectation, but offers the property to the property manager to manage, let me show you what's a typical experience, what they're currently going through in the property market. On the first, or in the first meeting, we've got this magic trick in property management that we change them to a landlord. That's the way we kind of communicate and report in. Secondly, the first meeting really revolves around, we will find you a good tenant. On a monthly basis, we send them a distribution statement, and not an investment statement. We usually request for more monies for maintenance, and usually they phone the property manager if the tenant has paid late and there's been no money of rental income in their account by the 5th or the 6th. And then annually, there might be potentially a rent escalation discussion, not an investment discussion. Now, if we can agree that this client fundamentally is the same person with exactly the same needs, he's just decided to invest in two different asset classes, I think you guys should agree with me that the experience at the top in the financial institution and the experience at the bottom in the property management sector is, first of all, fundamentally different. And I think this experience at the bottom is fundamentally failing the client's core needs. What is his needs? He's giving an asset to someone. In the top, it's a financial asset. At the bottom, it's a property asset. And he's asking someone to give him, to manage his asset for him and report back on how well or how badly his asset is doing. So the missing link between the top journey and the bottom journey or experience is fundamentally a button that the asset managers in the financial institutions have that the property managers, they don't have. And that's a button that produces a report, something like this, that report back on the performance or property performance matrix, which is yield, capital growth, and return on investment. Ultimately, that is what the investor is requesting you to report back on if he's bought an asset as an investment and is looking to understand how well or how bad his asset has performed. Unless we can fix or solve this big kind of discrepancy or missing link in the property management industry, we would definitely, without a doubt, see the current trend, which is private landlords are starting managing their properties themselves with very cool online solutions because their fundamental core need is not met by the property manager that's currently managing their property. So I'll get back to this. I hope that hopefully explains what we believe is the missing link in the current space of property management and what's definitely the future. If you would like to build a sustainable, healthy rental portfolio, this one element you have to be able to deliver to your clients because of a younger generation of landlords coming through, a more tech-savvy landlord, and definitely more and more free or very cheap private landlord solutions coming available in the tech space. Unless we can fix this missing value, I think the industry will definitely get questioned about, first of all, the fees they charge, and secondly, the value that they provide to their clients. And they might just opt to manage it themselves. So the next question I would like to address for us is, what are the critical success factors in building a rapidly growing rental portfolio? So I want to start off by saying the type of business this is, which you guys know quite well, it is a service business. So in the service business, usually nothing starts without people. So the first thing you guys have to do is to decide on appointing the right people that will have a dedicated focus on doing good rental portfolio management. So I'm going to jump to the next slide, and I'm going to come back to the slide a little bit later again to do the detail about it. But fundamentally, forget about the, let's call it different categories. I would like to explain roles. Fundamentally, there is going to be a role of financial or account management when you are managing a property on behalf of an investor or landlord. Secondly, I call it the investor relationship manager, but there's going to be someone that's going to be liaising with the landlord. It might be the same person. There's going to be someone that's going to be responsible for maintenance management on the property. Again, if you start off, it could be all one person. And there's going to be someone that's going to be dealing a lot with tenants and queries and general administration that would have to be addressed to. And there's going to be someone out there running around and doing viewings on for tenants and finding new properties to manage on behalf of the landlord. So if I can go back to the slide, to understand to ensure that you build a healthy portfolio, starting with the right people is probably the best advice I can give you guys today. You guys in your current business are in principle also in the service business, and understand that if you have the right people on the bus really usually go quite fast and quite far. But having the wrong people not dedicated to these roles, you guys will definitely have a challenge. So my best advice is find the right people to have in the right roles or fulfill the right roles in your portfolio to ensure it's a dedicated service. It's not something that they just do. Maybe part of sales. Make sure you've got a dedicated team and ensure focus on that roles I've just explained to ensure success in your business. The next thing that you guys as a company should develop is a unique value proposition. So there are obviously quite a few, let's call it the property managers out there, and there's got to be something different about your brand. So maybe I can just give you a kind of a look into what is potentially possible in your world. So if you guys believe you have to become rental asset managers and just not another rental agency, a brochure or a value proposition that looks something like this should be part of every kind of rental agent, or for that matter, sales agent's arsenal to give to prospective landlords or investors, so that you can showcase your value in getting the business and signing that very important rental mandate. So you guys will have to sit down and understand what you guys are going to provide from a service or value perspective, package that in your unique brand, and make sure that all your agents that are currently running out in the trenches, finding these landlords or investors to manage their properties on their behalf, should be equipped with something with your brand on that will enable them to communicate your unique value proposition. Next up, from a critical success factor point of view, is standard operating procedures. Now, I think next to the right people, this might be the second most important thing you guys have to ensure that is in place. So I always told my team when I was managing a portfolio is we as a managing agent can never be in the wrong. We might have a tenant that doesn't pay his rent, or we might have a landlord that doesn't approve a maintenance request that the tenant had. But if we always follow the standard operating procedures in our business, we would never be wrong, which means neither the tenant or the landlord will ever be unhappy with us. So guys, I'm going to just guide you through a couple of things that typically happen on a daily basis in a rental portfolio that you guys should have a procedure for to ensure everybody that does this in the business execute well and execute consistently. So if you start a lease, here's a couple of items that's going to happen on a daily basis before you put a tenant into a new property. When you get a new manager of the new property to potentially manage, you have to do a rental valuation. You have to understand what the base rental value is going to be to market the property for. You've got to sign the rental mandate. You've got to do a listing on all the portals to ensure proper marketing. You've got to conduct viewings. You've got to handle quite a few tenant applications. You've got to do a good tenant credit check. You've got to sign a lease agreement. You've got to ensure you collect the deposit as well as the first month rental before you do an ingoing inspection and do a key handover. This is just the start of the lease. During the lease, on a monthly basis, you guys will typically have to invoice for the tenants for all the rent and obviously all recoveries for municipal expenses that they have to repay. You have to collect the rent and pay all and do payment allocations. You have to pay all third parties, maybe a maintenance manager, maybe the municipality on behalf of the landlord. You have to administrate both tenant and landlord statements, basically the accounts, and report on that. For those tenants who didn't pay, you have to issue letter of demands or do follow-up on those arrears. You have to potentially do legal handovers for tenants that has not been paying for a while. You have to do interim inspections to ensure the property is still in good condition. And you have to do comprehensive project management on a typical, if the geyser has burst, typical maintenance management item that has come up in the property you're managing. This is all the typical things, the main things that's got to happen during a lease. At the end of the lease, there's got to be a call to both the tenant and landlord advising them on the new terms, what you would advise them on to ensure the best rental income for the landlord. You've got to issue renewal addendums where applicable for tenants. You've got to conduct outgoing inspections if the property is obviously being vacated. You've got to ensure general cleaning and maintenance management on that property has been vacated. You've got to issue, in our world, investment reports or general reporting, depending on what you obviously use. And you obviously have to administrate deposit payouts, typically 2 weeks after the tenant has vacated the property. Now, these are just the main things that I've just highlighted that you guys have to have clear procedures for to ensure every single agent that goes out or every single agent sitting in the office conducting these exercises or activities on a monthly basis is done in your way to ensure consistent and quality service being delivered to all your clients. The next critical success factor that I would like to discuss is the marketing and growth strategy of your portfolio. There's obviously going to be potentially an initial investment in creating the structure for your business, and you would like obviously to make a good return on an investment as quickly as possible. Now, in my view, this is the one area where I'm the most excited for your brand based on the current infrastructure that already exists. Let me explain you why. So this is the structure I believe is the most scalable rental portfolio business structure to grow portfolios of 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 units. Again, I would like to clearly state for those of you starting off, you don't have to start like this, meaning you have to appoint 4 people to it kind of sits on these 4 chairs. This could be one person. But typically, in my view, you guys should have at least one person filling these 4 roles. And if the portfolio is small, that they can definitely do that. And one person that's out in the, I would like to call it in the streets, making sure the properties are filled with tenants and does all the viewings. But there's something that you guys have, which is quite unique. You've got these things called market centers with a huge amount of agents being present in these market centers. This will and will always be your single biggest, I want to call it secret weapon from a lead generation point of view. These massive amounts of agents are dealing with landlords, aka investors, on a daily basis. If you guys can structure an incentive to ensure all the contacts that these agents are making based on their sales canvassing, but they are coming across private landlords that are either managing the property themselves or another agent is managing it. And you can incentivize them to obviously sell your value proposition and bring this lead in to your rental business. I can promise you, you guys will grow exponentially year on year. So I have discussed potential models with Johan, and I'm happy to sit with each one of you guys that obviously would like to start or is currently building a portfolio and just want to understand what we believe is the best model for you guys. But if you leverage this massive kind of, what I like to call it, a secret weapon and generate significant amount of leads about all the contacts that they make with private landlords, I can ensure that this rental agent portfolio will grow significantly, and very quickly you can build the ultimate infrastructure of 4 people sitting doing dedicated specialized jobs. And this person in front can basically just feed that funnel through the leads that's coming in through your market centers. So this very important thing that you guys have to take away is there is a credible, unique model that can be put in place for each market center that will ensure rapid growth in your business. And please contact us if you guys would like some guidance and advice on that. The last thing that I would like to touch on is the fact that if you would like to grow a rapidly growing portfolio and maintain those kind of, let's call it, finger on the pulse of this portfolio. In today's age, it's physically impossible to do that in a manual way using, let me use the product called Excel. Use Excel to manage your portfolio. Or solutions that's not optimized to enable you to grow at the rate you can grow and to ensure ultimate, let's call it scalability in your portfolio. So that's obviously where we come in, and it's something that we're quite good at, is providing a scenario where you can be tech enabled. So the question that I asked initially is, how do I build this more compliant, manageable, scalable, and profitable portfolio? Now, I want to almost kind of use the same words on the next slide. If you are going to be growing a rental portfolio, I can promise you that these 4 things, called compliancy, manageability, scalability, and profitability, will be your biggest challenges that you guys are facing in your business. Maybe not in the start, but definitely in time. Maybe I can just explain precisely what that means in your world in managing a rental portfolio. Firstly, from a compliance perspective, if I can just name 3 main items, maybe more than 3. First of all, your trust account should at all times be fully reconciled, at least monthly. That's something that's going to be currently doing manually if you're not working in a bank integrated environment. Secondly, at all times, you should have at least a FICA, a signed lease, and a moving in inspection to have a compliant lease based on the kind of guidelines, regulations that's governed a lease agreement. Thirdly, every month, you guys will be mandated to execute X number of variable billing rules with regards to recovering water, electricity, or any other amount based on your mandate from your landlord. So if you don't execute that, you're not working according to your mandate. You're not compliant based on your financial processing per month. And then lastly, every month you should give tenants whose lease are expiring between 80 and 40 days, you should give them a notice about the new terms that will be implemented on renewal of his lease. If you don't do that, you are non-compliant based on the act that obviously governs lease agreements. So today, in most agencies' world, all the items I've just mentioned is manual checks that the principal or OP or the manager, the rental manager must do to ensure that they are compliant. So if you're growing a book of 1,000 or 2,000 properties, which is definitely possible in your world, unless you have a system helping you to address those things, basically, I want to say automatically, it's basically impossible to be compliant at all times. The second point is manageability. We always use the phrase that you cannot manage what you don't measure. So to build a healthy rental portfolio, there's a couple of key performance indicators, KPIs, that you should have your finger on the pulse on a monthly basis. So unless you have a place, I call it a dashboard, that ultimately summarize all these KPIs in one place, it's almost impossible to be in control of your business at all times. And sometimes your business is very healthy, but maybe just one aspect, let's say arrears, are falling behind or skyrocketing. If you understand and know that on a daily basis based on intelligence that it's provided to you on a dashboard, you can effectively manage and address that issue. But if you don't know that, you're obviously blind and will definitely run into problems in time. Thirdly is scalability. So typically how this works is you start with one person, and then one person gets busy and the service level drops, and then you get another person, and then you get more property, and then that person gets busy and the service level drops. So more property will typically equal more people. And yes, you do kind of, in our view, need a certain kind of infrastructure, but typically over time, you should be able to build a very big portfolio with a very core size team. So what we can do from a technology point of view is enable automation to ensure that with the same size core team, you guys can build a big portfolio, and you don't have to have 10 people if you are managing 1,000 properties. You can have 5 people, and that is something I can quote, to manage that amount of properties in a very, very professional manner. Lastly, obviously, if you're going to be scaling effectively, meaning a lean team is going to be able to manage a big portfolio, you will be very profitable. But we as a company have always also been challenging the status quo in how you can unlock value from your portfolio. So for those of you who already have a portfolio and you're not in our solution, I can almost guarantee you that the day you implement our solution in your world, you will be able to unlock more revenue from your current properties or portfolio, which we can discuss. So these are the big 4 challenges that you guys will have to face or solve once you are building your rental portfolio. So how do you do it? The first thing is, there's not a single answer. the first step is, or a single solution, I would like to say. The first thing is you guys have to have an ecosystem. Ecosystem meaning solutions that speak to each other. The word integration is kind of the linking word. A software solution or solutions that integrate with each other to ensure you guys solve more than one problem, meaning not only rental account management, but potentially inspection and maintenance management as well. Secondly, you have to ensure efficiencies through automation. Unless you can automate mundane tasks, you guys will never be able to build a profitable portfolio over time, because more properties will equal more people. Critically, that you have to ensure that you're going to have transparencies among departments and your clients. That's going to be an ongoing need, a more serious need of clients that would like to see, because of technology, it's possible, what's happening in the world of their property or portfolio that you manage. And critically, among departments, to ultimately create efficiencies, they've got to be able to see each other's work without being able to interfere in each other's work. Then, like I've just said earlier, you have to ensure that you unlock every cent of revenue in your business as possible to ensure a profitable business. I started my presentation by stating that you cannot carry on by just being a rental agent. You have to become a rental asset manager. And lastly, you're going to be doing a lot of stuff for your client, the landlord. The critical thing is that you communicate your value to your client through intelligent reporting. So I want to end off my presentation, and then we can open the floor for a couple of questions by just, I think, a little bit about Who Connect You. So we, like I said earlier, are a specialized property management software solutions company. We've got 3 solutions that's dedicated and specialized in the property management space. Looking at community management, that's for sectional title and HOA management. Rental asset management, that's for rental portfolio management. And then obviously inspection and maintenance management software. We're the only company in South Africa that can offer all 3 solutions under one roof and create a fully integrated ecosystem to ensure optimal portfolio management for all property managers. Specifically, obviously, looking at our topic for today, our rental asset management solution is geared to address the 4 core pillars of rental portfolio management. Number 1 being the tenant application process, next rental account management, lease management, and then with our integration with our third solution, with Rabbit, we address the inspection and maintenance management. So if you guys have to decide on any solution, doesn't matter if it's this one, you have to ensure that your solution do address all 4 core pillars of rental portfolio management in one integrated solution. Then you would be unlocking the most value in efficiencies from your business. Lastly, also a very unique element of our solution is that going forward, we will enable our clients to start reporting their true value. The true value, meaning the asset that you guys are already managing. And you're potentially doing already an amazing job in kind of gaining asset value and producing amazing yields for your clients. But unless you can communicate this in a way that the client or investor would like to receive it, that value would not be perceived. So we will enable our clients to communicate or to generate reports like this, and fundamentally through our intelligent reporting, reposition our client from just being a rental property manager to become a rental asset manager, which is a critical part of building a healthy rental portfolio. I've mentioned it a couple of times, obviously our inspection and maintenance management solution. So in short, obviously every single property have to have an ingoing and outgoing inspection. We've got an application, you can do that to ensure, first of all, quality inspections, but at the same time, save time. And then the big problem in this environment is not really the inspection, but all the maintenance management that comes from inspections and all happens during the course of the year. That should be dealt with in an efficient way. And we are the only solution that's got the inspection app fully integrated with a maintenance management portal where you can manage all your maintenance activities in a very seamless way to ensure proper communication to all stakeholders and ensure that there's regular follow-up on all outstanding items. So as a company, we promise 3 things to our clients. We believe that we've got industry-leading solutions. We ensure a seamless take-on process, and we provide dedicated training and support for our clients lifelong, all in our kind of value proposition. So we've got a very bold statement we make as a company that we start our Mondays with. And that bold statement is that we are honestly believing that we can change the property management industry, one solution at a time. And we would love to be part of the Keller Williams journey in building a healthy rental portfolio. and start ensuring that you guys communicate your true value for your business internally and obviously externally. Thank you, Lizelle, and thank you, Johan, for the opportunity. I'm going to stop share, and then maybe we can address a couple of questions. And start ensuring that you guys communicate for your business internally and obviously externally.
Hi, Johan. Thank you so much for that. Let me just see. There hasn't really been any questions that came in. Like we said, this session will be recorded and it will be played throughout the complete family reunion, so people can come back and refer to it whenever they need to.
Okay, I do see a couple of questions here about my notes that I've used or the slides. I'm more than happy to share anything that I've discussed with you guys. I'll make my presentation available to you guys, and I'm more than happy to share my presentation. If you guys do, however, go to my profile, there are 2 brochures loaded, both for our rental asset management solution as well as for our Red Rabbit solution, the inspection and maintenance management solution. Yeah. Another question that I see here, Lizelle, is when will the tenant credit reporting be available? Great question. We have been approved from the NCR, so we're in the final stages of making that credit report available to you guys. So that's very good news. The approval happened in December last year. Another question, what are the cost implications? So we've got a phenomenal pricing structure in the way we price our product. So I would recommend that I send that to you. Let me just ask to Mike. Mike, I'm more than happy if you can maybe just contact me privately on the thing. I can send our contract, which will contain all our pricing for you. In a nutshell, we are a unit-based solution. So for every unit that you have on the solution, there's a charge, which is quite different to some of the other bank integrated solutions in the market, where they charge processing fees. We do not do that. I think that model is not that sustainable. So yeah, it's a really unique model where the bigger you get, the more cost-effective our solution comes over time. My contact details, I think you guys, I think Leon Kukumur, you've asked for that. So yeah, my email address is Johan with a double N @weconnectyou.co.za, or my telephone number is 084-5000172. But I'm sure if you guys just connect with me on this portal that you guys are working with in this week for the family reunion, please, you can contact me directly there, and we can ensure that you guys get all your questions answered. Yeah, there we go. Just see if there's more one. Great, Mike, I got your email. I'll also make contact with you. Thank you for that. All right, Lizelle, I'm not sure if there's any other question from your side. I don't see any other question at this stage from the live discussion. But again, the guys are more than welcome to contact me directly. And if there's any further questions, we can clarify.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time, Johan. We really appreciate it. And feel free to stay and watch the rest of our family reunion. It's going to be really exciting over the next few days. And thank you so much for your sponsorship and being with us. Enjoy your day.
Thank you for the time. Good luck with the rest of your conference. And we're looking forward to partnering with you guys as a brand. Thank you.
Thank you.